Good afternoon. This is math lesson 9-7, which is all about reasoning. So kids, you're going to be able to use reasoning to be able to count and write numbers to the number 20. Okay, so that's what we're working on today. So first of all, where did I put my egg carton? I have this egg carton here. Do you know how many eggs you can have in an egg carton before I open it? Does anyone know? You can have a dozen. So if you know what a dozen means, a dozen tells you how many eggs you can have in this egg carton. So I'll hang that right here, dozen. Okay. So let's find out. Let's see how many a dozen is. Ready? So we're going to count each one of the little holes where the eggs would be. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So a dozen is equal to 12. So let me ask you this. If we know that we can fit up to 12 eggs in this egg carton, or a dozen eggs in this egg carton, how many eggs could we put in this carton? Okay, so let's say, could we put 10 eggs in this carton? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Could we put 10 eggs in this carton? Yes. Are we still going to have 2 spaces left over? Yes, but we could put 10 eggs in this carton. I'm going to circle 10. So, if this here brings us up to 10, okay, this spot right here brings us up to 10, could we put 11 eggs in? Well, if this already brings me to 10 eggs here, I don't have to go back and count again. I could just say this would be 11. Can I fit 11 eggs in this carton? Yes, I can. What about 12? Can I fit 12 eggs in this carton? Sorry, I was just checking on Dylan. He's napping right now. 12 eggs in this carton. We know 12 is a dozen. So I know that I can fit 12 eggs in this carton. Okay? Now, what about 13? Can I fit 13 eggs in this carton? I can't, right? 12 is the most amount of eggs in this egg carton that I can fit. So I cannot fit 13 eggs, and I cannot fit 14 eggs. Okay? Let's try another one here. My number line out of the way. All right, I'm going to move the computer down to the floor because I want to show you something. Okay. So I have here one of Dylan's barns. Okay, this is one of his little play barns. Okay, so I'm going to open it up. Okay. So I'm going to give a problem here. So you have this barn, okay, and outside of the barn we have 8 animals. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. There, so you can see them. Okay. 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so there we have 8 barn animals. So let me just double check. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the dog here in the back makes 8. Okay, so I have 8 barn animals. Now, if I told you that there are 1 or more animals in the barn, how many animals could there be? So, let's look. I'm going to hang this here. So this has the information that I just said. Okay. So what do we know from what I just told you? We already know that there's more than 8 animals, right? Because there's only 8 animals outside. But I told you that there's 1 or more animals in the barn. 1 or more. Now you're saying, well, Mrs. Hill, I don't see any animals in the barn right now. There's none in there. Well, that's because I didn't put them in there, because if I put them in there, you'd just be able to count them and see how many there were. So we want to see how many different possible answers there are to this question. So we want to know how many total animals that there are. So let's see, there's 8 outside and there's 1 or more in the barn. So let's start by putting 1. Okay, there. Now we have an animal in the barn too. So we have some outside and we have 1 in. So how many animals do we have total now? If we had 8 outside plus 1 more equals 9, right? Do we just have 8 animals? No, because we already know there's more animals inside the barn. So we know that it's not just these 8 animals that you see here. So 8 is not going to be one of our answers, okay? Now let's say, could there be 10 animals in the barn? Well, according to the problem, it says that there are 1 or more, okay? So if I add another one, now I have 10 animals, right? I have the 8 out here, plus 2 in the barn, gives me 10. I could have 10 animals. Could I have 11 animals? If I stand up, there we go. Could I have 11 animals? I could. Because again, there's 1 or more. More could mean 2, it could mean 3, it could mean 4, it could mean 5, it could mean 100, right? But we're going to go with the answers that we have the choice of down here. So could there be 11? Well, there's 8 here. 8, 9, 10, 11. There absolutely could be 11. Okay. Could there be 12? Yes, there could. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now, if we were offered some more answers up here, we could keep circling and keep circling, because according to the problem, it says that there's 1 or more animals in the barn. Okay, let's try another one. So I get the animals out of the way here. Okay. All right, so let's try this one. Back up to the stool here. There we go. Okay, so here's our next problem. So there are more than 5 people visiting the house. 1 or 2 people are inside. How many could be at the house? So let's see, move this up some. These magnets aren't very strong, so. All right, so, well, what do we know? What do we know? Let's see. Well, first of all, I know that there are 5 people outside of the house, right? I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there are 5 people outside of the house. But I also know from what I said in the story problem is that there are more than 5 people visiting, which means there are people that I can't see right now, right? I can't see them. So that's one thing. So there are more than 5 people visiting. Okay, more than 5 people visiting. What else do we know? Well, from what else I said in the story problem is that 1 or 2 people are inside. So where it was different from the last problem said 1 or more. So it could have been a bunch of different answers, right? But this time, it's just saying, I said 1 or 2 people are inside. So 1 or 2 people inside. Okay, so let's look at our answers. We have to choose from 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and we're going to circle. Sorry. Computer went dark there for a minute. All right, so we're going to circle all of the answers that are correct. So there's 5 people outside the house, but we know that there's more than 5 people visiting. So 5 is not going to be one of our answers because we know there are people inside that we cannot see right now. Now, 1 or 2 people inside. That means I'm going to take these 5 people and I'm going to add 1. If I added another person who's inside this house here, how many people does that give me now? Take a minute to count at home. And then the person inside is 6. So we could have 6 people visiting the house. Okay, so that's 1. There was 1 more person inside the house. Now, what if there's 2 people inside the house? So I already drew 1 person in the house. I'll go ahead and draw another person here in the house. So now I have 2 people inside the house. So let's see how many people there are now. And if you're thinking in your head, I could do 5 plus 2, or you could count them all. So take a minute to either count them all or do 5 plus 2. And you should have gotten 7. Okay. Now, could there be 8 or 9 people in the house? Why not? So there can't be 8 people in the house because if there were 8 people, if there were 8 people visiting, not in the house, if there are 8 people visiting total, we would need another person in this house here. And that means that would change what we know down here, that there's 1 or 2 people inside. It doesn't say that there's 3 people inside. There's only 1 or 2. So there's either 6 people visiting this house today or 7 people visiting this house today. Okay? But hopefully not more than 10. All right, so let's move on to the you do. So parents, I'm going to post this. Okay. Oh, and I forgot my disclaimer at the beginning, but I will make sure to include that at the end of this video so that you are aware. I will also post it in the comments about these assignments not being mandatory. So parents, here is the you do. I'm going to read it out loud. I'll take a picture and post on the dojo also, so you can have the kids do this at home if you'd like to. So it says the fish tank can fit up to 15 fish. So this fish tank here can fit 15 fish. Draw a circle around the numbers that tell how many more fish you could fit in the tank. Okay, so use some of the reasoning that we used here today. Think about the animals in the barn, think about the egg carton, even go back and replay the videos if it helps you, and try to solve this, and if you wish, and then you can post it to the dojo. Before we go, I do want to share this with you. I just want to make sure that I'm clear that the videos and the assignments are not mandatory, nor are they being graded. They are offered to you if you'd like to use them as a resource for learning during this time of social distancing. So thank you, and I'll see you back for writing.